Welcome back, everyone. As you guessed from the title, we are going over this light right here. This is the Holosun RAID. It is an acronym. I will put in whatever it stands for here on the screen, but you know, the industry, we love acronyms. But what it is it is a Scout compatible in terms of mounts anyway. Weapon light from the folks over at Holosun. It's 1,000 lumens rated and also rated for 80,000 Candela. So just those numbers alone tell you you're going to have a pretty throwy kind of light, probably not as much flood. Of course, we will do a beam comparison here in just a second. There's a lot of things about the light that I do like right up front, but there's like two things that I don't really like that we will definitely get to throughout the video. But before we get to that, just kind of what comes with it, if you will. Obviously, we have the light itself. It comes apart in multiple pieces, just like you would expect from a Surefire Scout-ish style light. Obviously, it is not a Scout. We do have O-ring seals on everything. It's water submergible. We submerged it. It was fine. It comes with a USB-C rechargeable battery. It does take two CR123As. However, if you do that, you are going to get less output. I think most people know that at this point. It does come with two mounts. It comes with a 1913 or Picatinny mount, and it also comes with the M-Lock mount that we have here on this particular little PCC that you guys have seen throughout the video. It also comes with a tape switch that I think, in terms of the construction and the build quality of the tape switch, is actually excellent. It's very, very good. We have it mounted up here on our 1913 rail. Another thing that I think is smart about it versus some competitive options is that it's not Surefire compatible. It's not Streamlight compatible in terms of the actual plug itself. It is crane compatible. That's not really normal for lights. A lot of the optical devices that you'll usually see having that are going to be some sort of night vision or IR aiming laser, but it is in fact crane from the factory, which I do dig from the folks over at Holosun. Additionally, it has a backup button there as well if you don't want to use a plug. And many of you guys know who have watched over the years, I generally, rather speaking, I don't like tape switches because they all pretty much break eventually. However, to date, this one has held up. I've had this in for, I guess, since January, since they first shipped them out. I actually didn't request this. Holosun just sent it and didn't ask for a video or anything like that. But I think it's worth it because of the value proposition of the light. The light itself, if you guys look around right now, is going to be roughly 150 units of measure, depending on where you live, which is pretty darn good. Of course, there'll be a link down below because we actually can link to lights everywhere here that we put up videos if you guys are looking to pick one up. So when you compare that to, you know, like a Surefire that's going to be, you know, well north of that, and the Streamlights that are going to be in that same ballpark depending on the model, there's a lot going on, and I know a lot of folks do like Holosun from their experiences with them using their optics. So with that, we're going to let the lights go down, and then we're going to do a quick beam comparison, come back and go over a few other features of the light and just how it's performed, and again, a couple cons that I'm not a huge fan of. For those of you that are new, we have our camera here set on manual, so as close as possible to what I see with my human eye. And we have some natural illumination out here tonight, as you guys can see out there in the night sky. And we'll let you get a look here at the RAID output. That spot there where the wood fence meets the iron fence is roughly 30 yards away. Trees in the background anywhere from 35 to 50 yards, depending on the tree. And you guys can see we have a nice tight hotspot for sure. However, you can see those rings there in the flood. It's interesting. I'm not sure I've seen that before, but we do have a good bit of flood in terms of the actual width of it, but it's sort of sectioned off, which is interesting. The output that you see right there is coming from a Modlite with the OKW head. So we got about 680 lumens and about 69,000 Candela. You can see a nice hotspot. You can see there how the spill, though, doesn't have any sort of rings or anything like that in it, like we do here with the Holosun. So once again, Holosun, it also has a different tint that you guys probably can pick up as well. Holosun over here on the right, and then that is the Modlite there on your screen. Here we have the output from that 2000 lumen, 80,000 Candela Streamlight. Wider flood for sure, more filled in flood again. Hotspot still pretty darn intense out there. And again, contrast is there is our Holosun RAID. Once again, we still have the camera set on manual. I'm about 10 yards back on my property. Across the lake, shore to shore is about 110 yards, and then there's a little fishing shack over there. Beyond that is the road that you can see those cars driving at, and that fishing shack's about another 10-15 yards back on my neighbor's property. So we're looking at about 130 yards here in terms of what we're going to be focusing on. And there is the illumination from the RAID. As I always say here on the light tests, when I zoom in, that's much, much closer to what I see with my human eye than when we're backed out. I can see a lot of clarity there. If somebody was standing out there, I'd be able to see their
clothing, if they had something in their hand, something like that. You definitely get all those details even at that distance. But again, around there, you're not getting a ton of flood. You can see rosemary bush here on our side of the property is getting illuminated by the flood, so that's good. You know, it's only a few yards in front of me. So you're getting some situational awareness up close, but not as much as some competitive offerings rather. To compare and contrast that, there is the Modlite with the OKW head. And if we zoom in there, you can see pretty similar in terms of at distance illumination, i.e. the hotspot, but you're getting more detail, not a ton more, but you're getting some additional detail with the flood on that Modlite. Now we're looking at the new Streamlight rail mount. Again, about the same Candela right on the target, if you will, but man, a lot more information coming off in the flood. Again, that is your rain, and then that is the Streamlight. Putting them out there in the trees really tells the difference. Pros and cons to each, I suppose.
Now that y'all have seen the beam comparison, that's going to bring up one of the things I'm not a huge fan of. So the way it has that spill that has those O-rings in it, I think is actually perfectly fine for indoors. When I've used it indoors, I never notice it because you get enough spill and bounce, if you will, off of the indoor walls. So you really don't notice it indoors. But outdoors, that is a weird flood pattern, and it's going to give you gaps in which you can actually see and perceive. So not the best in my opinion. I prefer a different beam pattern. Of course, the actual performance and throw of it is very nice. I definitely do dig that. Again, especially at the price point. Another thing that's nice is the battery life on this. So I actually tested it. I think it says that it runs 2 hours on their website. I actually tested it. I got it for like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that was on high. One feature of the light that I didn't talk about that definitely is interesting is that it has the ability that you can actually triple tap these things, these devices, whether you're using the actual button or the switch, and turn it off. So if you're somebody who's afraid of having a white light negligent discharge, if you will, that's a feature that definitely could come in handy. Additionally, if you double tap it real quick, which we're going to get into here in just a second, it goes from high to low, and then of course back from low to high. And the way it works is that whatever setting it's on, when you turn the light off, it stays on that setting until you double tap it again. So just know that going forward. Why would you want that feature? There's certain environments that having a ton of output is not preferred by some people, whether or not you're trying to extend battery life, whether or not you are in a smoky, foggy environment where you might be getting a lot of light bouncing back at you. There's a few reasons why you might want that. I personally wish it was a little bit harder to go back and forth between high and low, because I have been, it's happened more than once to me in using it. When I actually go to hit it and I go one way or the other, I don't mean to. What I mean to do is turn it on, search, and turn it off. As you guys can see there, there's a little bit of a timing issue with the actual activation, I guess you could say, of the light. And that is my second con, if you will. We already talked about the beam pattern, but the way the light works basically is like most lights. So you press and hold for momentary, and then of course click it for constant on. And that's all well and good, but the problem is if you want to, like there, I didn't mean to have constant on. What I meant to do is scan, right, and then release, but it's still on. So the timing on the switches is unnatural. If you are someone who is used to the standard Streamlight or Surefire interface, it definitely can throw you for a loop. Not a huge fan of it. I actually don't know why Holosun did it that way. If you're somebody who's not super proficient with any of those other systems already, it's probably not a big deal, but I know a lot of folks out there who are looking at this probably have experiences with those other lights, and sometimes because of the delay there, you get a light on when you don't want it on, and the inverse is also true. Sometimes if you're tapping it twice, not the inverse, I don't know why I said that. Sometimes if you're tapping it twice, you'll go from low to high when you just mean to have two different bursts of light, if you will, because for folks who don't know and who think what I'm saying is crazy, you don't want to just walk around in a possible two-way range type of scenario with your white light constantly on. You want to be moving, and in theory, the next time you turn your white light on, you're in a different location than you were in the last. That is, of course, optimal conditions, but that kind of is the mindset behind why you would want to do it. Price point we already talked about. I think that's very competitive, very good. The build quality of the light is very good. 7075 T6 aluminum construction. This has had at least 2,000 rounds. On this one, it had just over 1,000, I think 1,100. And then on an AR-15, we put another 1,000 through it. So no issues at all with that. And of course, 9mm, as many of you guys know, PCCs actually have more recoil than AR-15. So I'd imagine it would hold up just fine. And that pretty much sums up my thoughts on the lights. It's a good light. Overall seems to be good. Just a couple things that I would like to see tweaked on it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that, you can always post those down below in the comment section. If you guys have the light, let me know what you think. I've seen a lot of reviews of it and they all seem pretty positive, but this is, you know, my channel, my opinion. You get what you get here. Is what it is. So those questions and comments can also be posted over on my social media pages. I definitely recommend you following me on all of them, ideally, but certainly the non-meta ones are best. I post a lot of things over there that aren't allowed on meta, including this light. So when I actually am filming this video, Labor Day has just passed, and there were some crazy sales on this light. It was the cheapest I'd ever seen it, and I posted all of those, of course, across my social media, and then also in our daily deals email that you guys can sign up for at the website here on your screen. Goes out every day, as the name indicates, and it typically has 8 to 10 of the best deals, whatever it is, lights, lasers, ammo, mags, optics, etc., that I know of on the internet on that particular day. So if the item, whatever it is in the email on a given day, it's the cheapest I know of for that item. So that way, hopefully it saves you guys some time and hopefully saves you some money as well. Signing up for that will also get you put on our monthly email that goes out once a month, and it has all the videos since the previous month's email went out. So that way you guys don't get censored by an algorithm not showing you guys my content. If you're subscribed and you're not seeing the videos, that is what is going on. Speaking of, if you like the video, definitely subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. I appreciate that. And then we also have an SMS list that you guys can sign up for at the website here on your screen, or you can text the code to the number here on your screen, and that will get you signed up as well. That goes out at most once a day. It typically has the best deal that I know of around the internet on that day that is going to sell out quickly, so we get it right in your SMS box. Also, occasionally we will send out a link to the new video that just dropped. Once again, getting around the algorithmic censorship. There is a theme here. So that's all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.